Man, those Marvel videos took a lot out of me. Now that I think about it, Marvel is owned by Disney. A lot of Disney videos at the end of last year, huh? Maybe I should take a break from that company. Wrong! Here's a Disney franchise based on a Marvel thing! Gee, thanks. Do I have to do... Alright.
Big Hero 6 is a weird movie because it's a Disney movie, but it doesn't feel like it. Disney usually sticks to fantasy elements while having musical numbers sprinkled throughout. Most of the time, there's some magic at play in the story, or talking animals. Big Hero 6 says, "Shut up, here's a futuristic city called San Francisco, and a story about superheroes and robots." Do you get what I mean now? If anything, it feels like something Pixar would do, because the concept is so detached from other Disney outings. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I obviously can't seem to process that this is Disney's handiwork. Oh, and Big Hero 6 is actually a Marvel property, and there's a Stan Lee cameo. What was Disney cooking in the 2010s? Cause this shit's awesome. While this movie was a success in my opinion, I don't think it was a huge thing when it came out, so you probably aren't familiar with this film. Big Hero 6 stars Hero and 5 of his friends as they set out to stop this masked individual from taking his revenge on this billionaire. Wasabi, Go-Go, Honey Lemon, and Fred. The team used their technical genius to make themselves some fancy gadgets and become superheroes. But wait, Big Hero 6 only mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Who's the 6th? Well, that would of course be Baymax, a robot who is Hero's bestie. I don't think you understand how fantastic Baymax is as a character. First of all, his design is so simple, but is so effective at emoting and just being a cute guy. Even though he has a 1,000-mile stare, he's somehow very expressive. But this wouldn't mean anything if he sounded weird, and lucky for my judgmental self, he does not. His voice is perfect for this Marshmallow Man, and really adds to his charm.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare companion.
Some of the sadder scenes, which, yeah, there is some, benefit a lot from Baymax's voice. It's very soft and gentle, and he only speaks in one tone, but it's the words he says that gives him some humanity. And that's just one side of the character. When Baymax is all suited up, he looks badass! He gets more of a heroic silhouette instead of melted ice cream. And when he goes into kill mode, yes, he does that, he looks so menacing. Look at him tear through everyone as he doesn't break his sight on the target. The way he's framed in the scene is frightening, adding to how versatile Baymax is as a character. Baymax is a very iconic character in every aspect. And if you don't get emotional after he sacrifices himself, then you're a soulless demon and I hate you. One thing I don't like about Baymax is what they didn't do with him. Hero programs a superhero chip to go along with Baymax's healthcare chip. He learns some karate, but we never really see him use it. Sure, there's one scene at the end where he does use some of the moves, but I want to see him fight someone. I get it wouldn't make sense for him to use karate against the villain, but there was so much potential there. A big theme of the movie is grief. Hero uses his big brother Tadashi, trying to save his Professor Callahan, and that obviously upsets Hero. One of the only thing Hero has left of him is Baymax, because Tadashi was the one who created him. The movie revolves around Hero dealing with his grief, as he uses it to hunt down the guy in the mask, who he thinks set the fire. Hero tries using Baymax to kill the villain out of anger, and it's only thanks to his close friends that he's able to snap out of it, and do the right thing. It is a touching tale, but Hero isn't the only one going through grief. The guy in the mask is none other than Professor Callahan. Who could have seen that coming? He's currently taking revenge on insert rich man CEO because he was involved in sending Callahan's daughter to a purple vape dimension. It makes sense in the story. See, this is what we call juxtaposition, as Callahan represents someone who doesn't have those friends to help him in time of grief. This could be how Hero would have turned out if he didn't have Baymax or his friends. The idea of Callahan is cool, but the actual character is kind of empty. He is a grieving father, but he has no remorse after trying to kill 5 of his students. He doesn't even care that Tadashi died trying to save him.
I went in there to save you!
That was his mistake!
What an unpleasant person. All they had to do was write Callahan to be more sympathetic towards the main characters, and I think he would have been way more interesting as a villain. Like I said before, Disney is very well known for their original soundtracks and musical numbers. But that just doesn't exist in this film. Sure, there's some original pieces for scenes, but none of them stand out to me. In a strange move, There's some licensed songs thrown in there, but there's only like 2. Bit of a nitpick, but at the end, when Baymax sacrifices himself to save Hero, he was somehow able to take out his own healthcare chip and send it back with Hero, so there can be a nice ending. But how the hell is he able to do that? Last time it was taken out, Baymax did this. That makes 0 sense. Why am I complaining about getting my favorite pillow back? I really like this movie, even with some corny and sometimes cringe scenes thrown in there. They created a lovable character who serves the film so well, and this movie made quite a bit of money compared to its budget. Surely we'll get a sequel eventually. Instead of getting a fully CGI movie, we got a 2D animated show, which is a good direction for the show to take in my opinion. This new format can allow more stories to be told with these characters, and we can get a chance to actually see them being superheroes instead of stopping one dude. But does this first season pull off a worthy successor to the movie? Well, there were some nice ideas in this first season, but nothing really happened throughout it. There's 25 episodes, and I think the only important ones were the first 2 and the last 3. Each episode follows a villain of the week formula, but the actual villain themselves aren't really that interesting. Except Globby. He starts out as a terrible bad guy, but we get some episode where he learns to control his powers better and actually becomes a menace. He does help the team save the city at the end, so he had a nice little character arc. He can turn into dinosaurs. While there isn't anything wrong with the episodes being episodic, I just can't help but feel like these episodes were very simple and almost boring. We get a whiff of something sinister happening in the shadows, but that leads to some generic concepts. The bad guy wants to destroy the city, wow. While there isn't much plot happening, the characters don't develop much either. Sure, Hero might learn a lesson in one episode, but it's not like that ever comes up again. They all have their little character tropes, like Wasabi having OCD, and Fred being Fred. Some side characters got some changes, like Alistair Cray. He becomes the stereotypical rich guy, which is completely different to how he was in the movie. Big Hero 6 isn't even that good of a superhero team. Like, they never actually catch any bad guys, and they get their asses kicked by everyone. And God forbid, if Baymax and Hero get separated, Hero is useless. Like, duh, I know they're meant to be a duo, but they are constantly getting separated, and Hero can do nothing. To the show's credit, there is a whole episode about this. Speaking of Baymax, he's still pretty cute and lovable, but he doesn't work as well in 2D, I think. It may not be a fair comparison, but CG Baymax is way more charming than this piece of paper. Lucky he has the same voice actor as the movie, cause I would have lost it. The show actually does something I was really hoping they would. They play around with the idea of Baymax getting different chips. Like he gets an overdrive mode, which is sick. He has a sword and shit, what? But there's also a dancing chip. Evil Baymax almost makes another appearance thanks to Abake. The ending of the season feels very big and climactic, but at the same time feels underwhelming. Abake makes a star to wipe out the city, so the team stops him, obviously, but then he gives up. Kind of lame, but Stan Lee is back to voice Fred's dad. I think this season is kind of underwhelming, but still watchable. Some of the episodes have cute ideas, but the reusing of all the villains gets boring. Well, suck me sideways. Season 2 trumps Season 1 in every way. But it's still not perfect. After finishing Season 1, I was left a little underwhelmed by the characters, episodes, and ending. I thought the show would just keep coasting along these basic elements, but I was completely wrong. This season has a lot more interesting episodes that take the already existing villains and let them evolve figuratively and literally. The first half of the season focuses on the new theme of animal mutation, which contrasts the last season's focus on more robotics. This idea allows for more interesting character design and abilities, but instead of introducing a whole new batch of villains, it's the older ones that get given a makeover. A few new faces are sprinkled throughout, but none of them really leave that much of an impression. The filler episodes have been cut down a lot to spotlight the plot episodes more, which was refreshing. All this good stuff happens in the first season, but the mutation stuff doesn't continue in the second half. Liv is the one turning people into monsters because she's trying to save, herself? So Liv is actually in this tube, and this clone of her is trying to save the real one. Honestly, did not expect this twist. It's a cool idea that gets paid off well, but my question is, why is Dai turning people into monsters? It's never really stated why. Maybe to find a cure? But how does turning a meteorite into a bear help? Dai could have been a great improvement over Abake, but her motivation for doing some of these things is just bizarre. Now, with the remaining amount of episodes, what can the show top what would have been the season finale? They don't! It could have been so great, but the second half drags the season down. New character, Chief Cruz, wants to arrest Big Hero 6, so supervillains stop showing up. Plus, his dad was killed by a supervillain, so that makes sense. But this is a story that's been done so much in superhero media that it's just predictable. You know that in the end, they'll put their differences aside to stop the main villain. And would you look at that? This doesn't lead to anything, because the final bad guy of the season is Abake's robot daughter, who wants to take over San Francisco. Oh, but wait, there's a side plot of Cruz's daughter trying to find out Big Hero 6's identity. How did the season drop the ball so much? No, seriously, I'm asking. There were some fun moments and episodes in the second half, but I just did not like this ending. I think it's worse than Season 1's ending, because at least they set up Obake beforehand. One of the best episodes is in the first half, and it's about Globby. He continues on his path of good, which I like. Normally TV shows like the characters to stay in the status quo, but not here. The team managed to turn Globby back into a human, but when an evil Globby shows up, he realizes that he likes being special, so transforms back to help. Globby is the best character, and this leads to the greatest fight scene in the whole show. And I'm not even finished watching. Look at my man go! The animation is so great, and that goes for every Globby episode. He's even doing a JoJo's aura. Are you kidding me? Why couldn't the rest of the season be this good? Again, I ask, how come Globby can get so much character development, but none of the main characters do? Seriously, I can't think of an episode where a character gets a drop of development. Actually, there is one about Fred learning to focus, but does that count? At least all the characters get some new upgrades. That'll do, I guess. Fred gets a whole separate suit with different abilities, which is actually kind of cool. I thought this would be a one-off thing like Hero Super Strength, but it shows up a lot. And now for a segment I like to call Disappointing Plotlines. Number 1, Hero's classmate Kami is given a fair amount of screen time in both seasons to flesh out this romance subplot with Hero. We actually start to get somewhere, but then she leaves without anything getting resolved. Number 2, Professor Granville is so absent in this season. She found out the team's identity last season, but they don't really play with that dynamic. She shows up like 4 times just as Hero's teacher. Number 3, this is more of an opinion, but Hero's microbots should have made a proper comeback. They were so versatile in the movie. There are instances in episode 11 and 25 where they briefly show up, but that's not good enough. And number 4, they tease at the end of an episode that Hero might rescue the original Baymax that was left in the Grimmest dimension. But guess what? Nothing. I don't hate the season and would watch it over season 1 any day, but it was so close to being perfect. If these minor plots were wrapped up and the second half didn't put me to sleep, I would glaze this season so hard. I'm just hoping season 3 explores the original Baymax idea. Oh, what's wrong? Season 3 is shit. Yep, unfortunately, season 3 of the Big Hero 6 show is awful. It's not even because of the plot, because there isn't one. 10 episodes that don't connect to each other whatsoever. Each episode is split into 2 11-minute sections, which somehow make the episodes drag out. I know I gave the second half of the last season a lot of flack, but at least something was happening there. Okay, maybe these episodes have some interesting concepts.
It's the cool new thing all the kids are doing. Even sophisticated cows are mooing.
These are the silliest episodes in the show.
You will watch my babies while I attend a STEM conference today.
How did they mess this up so bad? Wait, there's a Globby episode. Maybe that's okay? Said me hopefully. No! The only one I somewhat liked was episode 5, because it was about Heathcliff being a spy. The seasons were getting better as they went on, so I'm so disappointed that we didn't get a proper story. I guess there are a group of main villains, but it's just a bunch of mascot robots. I have nothing else to say about the characters because they still don't have anything going on, and the season just ends. No fanfare or anything. I was greatly surprised by Big Hero 6 the series, but also greatly disappointed. This show had so much potential, but it never reached the highs it could have. One thing I noticed is that there were a lot of episodes about Fred. They must have loved writing for him, and I will say, he is very entertaining. There were some shorts created for the show, but I'm not looking at them. I can't handle the disappointment. There is one more show I want to look at. Baymax is a collection of 8-minute shorts that just follow Baymax as he goes around helping people. This has nothing to do with any superhero stuff, but rather focuses on the healthcare that Baymax was originally made for. We never really saw that in the show or the movie, so it's nice to fully explore that side of the character. Obviously, it returns to CGI and looks way better than the movie. Which isn't fair, I know, but a lot of the movies around the same time hold up way better. Baymax is back to being really cute in his mannerisms, and proves my critique on the show. This show is so charming in the way it's structured. Baymax finds a patient with a health issue. He tries to help, but uncovers a deeper issue with the patient's psyche. I really liked what they did with this idea. What caught me off guard was there was an episode about a young woman getting her first period. It's a mature subject that I didn't see coming, but was done really well, I think. Hero gets an episode at the end, and has appeared in the post-credit scenes for each episode. Yeah, the show has those. And would you look at that, the Microbots return. This show was something Disney did not have to make, but they really cooked here. The Big Hero 6 franchise is something I didn't expect to do as well as it did. I'm sure many people forgot about the movie and didn't even know there was a show. That is a shame because there's a lot to love about this franchise, and I hope we get a second movie at some point. Now if you'll excuse me,